Okay, so guess what? I'm Dave.
And I'm Sean.
And we are Barstools and Bandtalk with a very special interview tonight. You go ahead, Sean. I'll bring him on. How's that?
Fair enough. So I guess living legend is something that in these parts is apropos. Mr. JP Cormier has been in the news the last little while with actually a pretty interesting battle with regards to internet in rural areas.
Yeah.
And not only that, but just the talent played all over the place. And we're going to have a chat with him, see where it goes.
Yeah, you know what? We're looking at 13 ECMA wins, Juno nomination. Just a real talent and a real treasure for the Maritime provinces. Although he's not born here, born to Cape Breton parents, from what I understand. So we'll bring him right on here. We'll talk to JP Cormier. Well, welcome, JP. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good, thank you. And I know we kind of disturbed your dinner. You just had your dinner, so we won't keep you long, brother. We sure appreciate you coming on to the show.
Right on.
So I want to start with non-musical, JP. I heard you twice on Rick Howe's show about your woes with the internet in your area and what have you. And you uncorked some, I thought, very interesting material. Obviously, very well researched, just as to how those contracts were awarded, those types of things. Tell us how that's going, because I know it's been, that your bread and butter is right now is the internet. So how's that going, and where do you see it going?
You'll have to ask Develop Nova Scotia that question. I'm not to speak of it.
Okay, that's a new.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, they've announced what they've announced, and
okay. So happy, okay, or just gonna have to sit and wait?
Speaking about it, it's a matter that could still be in legal terms. So we haven't withdrawn the lawsuit yet.
Okay.
Until the announcements are complete, and they're not complete. So I can't really say anything about it right now.
Well,
fair
JP,
enough.
Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing during the COVID times to kind of redefine yourself, because I understand you've got a very, very cool online presence now.
Well, basically just moved everything online. There was no other choice. Performance came first, and then we did a few live shows online, and they paid off, and then we just started coming up with content that's happened every week. So that's it. That's the long and the short of it.
Okay.
We needed content. We came up with it, and we do it the same. We do every Monday is Life and Music biography show, and then every Wednesday String Theory. It's a live call-in show. Thursdays we film for our online school, Master Music Method, and then through my love of guitars, I started reviewing the guitars I had around the studio here, and now that's exploded into something else altogether again. So yeah, it's just that's just necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Mm-hmm.
So did I hear correct that you've now taken your YouTube audience to roughly 9,000 subscribers? Is that correct?
Yeah, we've more than doubled it in 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and a little bit of everything, I guess, are you able to track, where people, like where they're coming from and why, or is it just, you're just happy to have them?
They're all over the world.
Yeah.
People from String Theory, like they're tuning in from Taiwan, Ireland. I think we've had some people from Australia, all over the United States and Canada, and the UK. So yeah, it's everywhere. The analytics are worldwide, really.
Yeah, that's cool, because when we look at our group through Facebook and YouTube, it's so interesting that you can track this stuff now, because years ago, and you've been doing this for a long time, 36 years, is that right? Something like that you've been playing?
38. Yeah.
38, there you go. I apologize. So with that, I mean, you also have better tracking systems and organizations now than we ever did back in, the 70s and 80s. So
Yeah.
you find that helpful to build your business?
Yeah, I mean, Ginger, most of it. Ginger watches what's happening with the numbers, and then I just basically go. Well, I'm always developing content all the time. So, but she knows, she watches everything. She's up here every morning on the laptop, going over every parameter. There's a lot to keep track of.
Yes.
When you're doing it at this level, like it's a full-time job. I may never be able to go on the road again because I can't stop this now. I've been at it for 6 months and people are used to it, and it's basically replaced our net income, like my net income, right? So it's hard to stop that now. It's going to be tough trying to go and tour now.
Well, how do you feel about that?
I love it.
Right. So I guess
Yeah.
and on what to your point, I mean, it's a reinvention. But being able to do it out of the comfort of your home and not having to jump on a plane or whatever probably isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, it's like I said, I've been on the road for 38 years, so it's time to not be on the road for a while, I think.
Yeah.
We started out to be a forced break, but it was probably a long time coming. It was you can't do things at the level I was doing them for forever. Like, you just can't.
You were hitting 250, 300 shows a year. Is that right?
Yeah. So you can't do that forever.
No. Something's going to give at some point for sure.
Oh yeah.
So in terms of you must have had some opportunity to do some new writing. I mean, we heard a couple tunes that were on YouTube, but that must be coming along for you right now as well.
It would be if I wasn't producing other people. That's the other part of it that blew up in my face was everybody decided to make records. So I'm producing records remotely, making records with a guy that I'm producing has never met me and never saw me, just knows me. And then, he's recording at another studio in another part of the world. And I'm up here producing the bands and the arrangements, and they're flying vocal tracks into me. And yeah, so I don't have a lot of time for my own things right now, but I'm trying to make some.
Let me ask you a question now, JP. Are you embracing this technology? Do you enjoy it? Like the fact that you can produce somebody in another country, do you enjoy that kind of stuff? Is it kind of cool or?
There's nothing new. Doing that for a decade.
Okay.
We've been doing that forever. That's Pro Tools has allowed us to do that for a decade, right? I've been flying files around forever, but I have never made a record where I never saw the client, and I've just done that recently. So, which is
you could be onto something, right?
There's people coming after him, so like it hasn't stopped. It wasn't a one-off. There's people looking to do it. I've got a couple of people coming after him. So yeah.
Wow.
And so was that stuff now they reached out to you? That was something that you were doing? Like, how did that kind of unwind? Because, there's a few people that are doing it, but it's not really widespread yet.
Well, I get my production gigs the way I get them all. Someone calls me.
Okay.
And that's how I get this one. Somebody, I don't know, either they're a fan and they know I produce records, or I have a studio, or they get referred by another client. Like I've produced probably 120 records in the last 25 years. So it's a lot of people. I've recently started to hear from people that I produced, 15 years ago and 20 years ago. I don't remember them. It's crazy. And there's so many of them. I don't remember the records. I don't remember them. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible, when you don't remember. But there's been so many people come through the studio since, like, I started my studio in 97. And it's been going ever since. I've had it operating ever since. So I always made records because it was such a good financial thing to do, to have that kind of income to stay home. So that was good. I
Go ahead.
No, it was just always a good way to stay home and get paid instead of having to go on, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want now genre specific wise. I mean, like I know you've been kind of classes, bluegrass or traditional roots or folk or whatever. The kind of stuff that you're producing right now, is it the same kind of thing that you've played all along?
Production is paid 100% of the client. So I've made pop records and bluegrass, folk, I don't know, Celtic, Acadian. The client is what dictates what I don't have a particular style that I put on like every client because I'd never get any more clients.
Right.
Got to be a chameleon in this business. So, and that's what I always was before anybody even knew my name. I was just me. I was a utility man, right? So I traveled from band to band, playing multiple instruments and everything from, southern rock bands to bluegrass to straight gospel quartets and quintets. I don't know. I've done jazz and gypsy jazz and just about anything. I don't think there's much I haven't played. I've even played in a heavy metal band.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's just whatever the client needed. And so now when I record, the same thing. I make what I do fit what the client's bringing me.
Sure.
Or else every record would sound the same.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I guess my question would be like, what do you prefer now at this stage and age of your life? And you're the same age as Sean and I. So like, if you were to listen to some music today, like what do you like to listen to yourself?
I don't know. That's a hard one to do. My tastes are so eclectic that one day I'll be stuck on Robert Johnson, and the next day I'm listening to Sting, and then the next day after that I'm listening to Julian Bream or the Beatles or ELO or like my tastes are so widespread that I don't my iPod has 8,000 sides on it. It's that's not these are not sides I bought off of Apple Music. It's the complete collection of every piece of music I've ever collected in my life. That was gleaned from everything from 8-tracks to cassettes to CDs, LPs, plus all the music I've bought online over the years. So like, I still have my original record collection that I had when I was 5. I still have it. So I mean, it just ranges through everything.
So, we're talking about this, the embracing of technology, and you're doing things a different way. Be interested to get your take on, obviously we know where the scene is right now, what's going on, not only here, but worldwide. What do you think do you think it's going to continue this way? Do you think it's going to take a long time to come back? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, we're looking at another 3 or 4 years. Yeah. I called that as soon as I get home. Nobody wanted to believe that, but it was so obvious to me because I've been doing this for so long and realized that without an audience, you've got no gig. So that's the end of it. There's no audience. And then when the audience, the venue closes for good. And if you can't fly, and if you can't cross the border, and on that goes, it's over. And it's all about people's confidence that they're not going to die from going out of the house.
Right.
That's not going away. Not until there's a vaccine, and the vaccine is proven effective and not killing people itself. That's going to take us years. There's no way you're going to be able to do that. And they were saying in April, it's going to be here by Christmas. No. It might be here by Christmas, but it's going to take another 8
You want to be the first guy who takes it? I don't want to be the first guy who takes the vaccine.
No, me neither. I'm the last guy to take it. I will take it, but I ain't taking the first one. And that's just common sense. I mean, because they might be you know, they're doing their best, but they're not infallible. And they're doing this in a massive hurry, and they're trying to make a vaccine against the common cold. This is what this is. It's just another coronavirus. So if you can't, they've never vaccinated anybody against common cold, so how hard is it to do this? It's the same type of virus. So it's real sketchy how this all is going to play out. But I think the music industry is the touring industry, and all the parts are in the grave. They're done. We all have to find some other way to do this.
Well, it's an interesting take because today they announced that hockey's going to be back at the Scotiabank Center, and when they were talking about it, 2,000 people is going to be the max that they're going to be able to have at a game.
Yeah.
So if you go from 10,000 people to 2,000 people, you can figure out pretty quickly that, you know, in order to make the same amount of money, you either got to charge an awful lot or you're not going to make the same amount of money.
That's right.
And when people get, you know, I knew it, but somebody else said to me today, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and it's basically that's where things are. To your point, you have to get creative if you want to create revenue, or it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. There's no real good way to for a lot of these things to happen anymore. And I mean, but by the same token, there's an incredible amount of expendable cash because people can't spend their money anymore. Can't buy. They can't pay the $10,000 or $7,000 for their vacation. They can't. So they have a lot of extra money, and they're trying to find good ways to spend it. And that's one of the ways they're spending it that I'm noticing is just an explosion in the interest in guitar. Like the guitar market right now, ridiculous. It's on fire. And the people learning and people asking questions, they're by the thousands. I deal with them every week. And it's people that this is the reason that they're doing it. They got nothing else to do. You know, somebody who a year ago couldn't even consider buying a $5,000 guitar is now going up and buying one like it was nothing. Because he hasn't spent that money on what he normally spends it throughout the year. Can't vacation, nobody's getting coffees every day. All these stupid things that we spend our money on, we've managed to keep all of that down. Like even I notice it myself that I'm not spending any money. I'm not going anywhere. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
We're sequestered, but at the same time, you know, if you're still or whatever you can manage to do, you get to keep a lot more of your money these days.
That's a valid point. I hadn't really thought of it from that perspective before, because it's true. I mean, you have the time and you have the money, so you might as well do something creative with it. Why not learn how to play guitar? And why not talk to JP Cormier? He's the best guitar player in the fucking world. So, you know, that's not a bad deal, right? But what about long-term to our industry? Like I said, you know, if folks can't tour and they can't tap into the online presence, do they just go away?
I don't know what to say. It's not. It's very easy to do this online if you're willing to do the work, and it's an investment in time. It's not an investment in money. Like literally, you can set yourself up to do exactly what I'm doing for around probably $600 if you're starting with nothing. All you need is a phone and an iRig Pro and some kind of a small board and a microphone. That's it, and you can super high quality 4K 24-bit audio. And so like there's no reason not to do it. And people look at it and go, well, I've only got 30 subscribers or whatever. Well, you're never going to get any more subscribers unless you start putting up content and put it up every week, sometimes every day, until you reach that 1,000 mark, and then you're monetized. And then you have a reason to go back to it, and it's all about structure and continuity, and you just, once you find the pattern, you don't stop it. If you break it or miss a day or miss a thing, or that hurts you. Once people start following you, they expect you to be there every time. They expect you to be there. And if you're not willing to do that kind of work, because it's not easy, I can't, you can't put up, Jesus, we're putting up like, I don't know, it's going to be, well, it's like 150 to 200 videos a year now. That's a lot of content, and it can't be bullshit. It has to be something valid every single time and no repetition. So that's a lot of work. It's like running a television station.
Sure.
You got to figure out your content. It has to be interesting. You have to be listening to the audience. And like what I've been doing, it's been one of the largest musical challenges I ever faced, is trying to play some of the stuff that I've played on YouTube that I never did live before. And I had to go sometimes and relearn it, off my own records, like that. And they made for great shows, and they made us a good deal of money. And so, but it was a lot of work. Like my primary color show that we did, took us 10 days to film that. And me with my fingers down the nubs, like just in there practicing for hours and hours and hours. Something I don't do anymore, right? I never practice at all. So, but buddy, I've had to practice in the last 6 months, I'll tell you. It's been good for anybody.
Well, you're live. You're on, and you have to be on. That makes sense. It does. So it's, you have the opportunity to record in the comfort of your home, or have a producer, or do whatever. You can pick away at it, do half a song a day if you want, or whatever it is. But if you're doing something live, yeah, people expect it to be bang on.
Yeah.
Well, they're paying for it. Fair enough, JP. Like, they're paying their hard-earned money, and they want value.
Yeah. True. I mean, by the same time, we've never charged any money. We don't charge hard ticket prices, and that's the reason we make money. Because charging a hard ticket price is not feasible for something as intangible as an online performance. So we learned that immediately when we did the first show for a hard ticket, and we made $400 for the show. And I realized right away that forcing people into paying $15, to get to buy a link to something that may or may not even show up because of the internet, no matter how good my, right? Their connection could be bad, blah, blah, blah. Their computer might be a piece of shit. They might not have a smart TV. They might have to be watching on their phone. They might, you know what I mean? Yeah. So charging our ticket price for that type of experience is ludicrous. You can't do it. So nobody showed up. Nobody wanted, and besides that, the entire world is used to looking at YouTube for free. So the second show, we went completely tip jar. We made sure we advertised how to pay us, through e-transfer and PayPal. We got a PayPal link, PayPal.me link that we use. Made sure everybody knew the deal, and just did the show for free will offering, and made $3,000. Okay. So I mean, do the math, right? And it's like that. Everybody that I know who has attempted to do hard ticket prices online has failed miserably, because people just don't want to do it. This isn't real. It's not real. They're not buying a ticket to nothing. They're buying a ticket to turn on their device in their house. They're going to see it, but they'd rather remember seeing you live than watch you on a screen, pay to watch you on a screen, right? But if you let them in, like their family, which they are, and they decide, hey, yeah, this is really cool, I'm going to shoot them $5, all of a sudden, because you can only play to help, safely about 100 people right now, but you can play to 10,000 on YouTube, right? So there's the math. The math speaks for itself. So anybody who's out there who's an artist who doesn't think it works, you better start doing it now, because we're still going to be having this conversation in 2022. And if you haven't started now, by the middle of 2021, you're going to be destined. Because that's just the way it's going. We can't sustain. There's certain live gigs coming back. I'm going to do probably, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 shows for this entire year, right? Compared to 200 that were booked that are all canceled. These are 7 or 8 new shows that weren't even on the books before.
Mm-hmm.
And they're incredibly weird hybrid shows where nobody can get near you. You're not allowed to be in the 12 feet away from the audience. You know, it's just weird. It's just not. It's still good, but there's just not enough venues that have the space to generate the gate money that someone who does it for a living could survive.
Right.
So it's just very specialized places that are able to do it, and they're only going to be able to do it so many times a year. So, unfortunately, some of the venues that we used to play all the time are either out of business already or going to be going out of business.
Right.
So we really have.
Go ahead.
We really should be thinking about putting together some kind of co-op. Something kind of a union for all the guys who want to create some kind of an online community and work together and share each other's subscribers and, double up our ad power, because that's what it comes down to.
Yep.
Is the more people you get on subscribed, the more companies buy ads on your videos, right? So we should be thinking about that. Some brilliant person will eventually figure out a way to do it and make $1 million.
I may just have done that after just listening to you talk, because the wheels are grinding here for me, because I know an awful lot of guys that are doing exactly what you're doing. And the one part that they sometimes struggle with is just keeping the user base and creating the user base. And you don't seem to be doing that. Obviously yours is growing, but some of them just have a hard time with it. So a lot of great ideas, and you're right. You're bang on. Yep. That's the way it's going to go.
You have to realize something though, is that, and I've had to tell some people this too, because they don't realize what's going on. I got a 38-year touring history. I've probably played for, I don't know, a number of millions of people. I don't know how many in my lifetime, right? I've been doing it for 40 years, so I'm bringing an audience with me. And even with all that touring history, I've only got that 9,000, but I also have, there's 25,000 on Facebook, and I put a post up there a little while ago about a guitar, my brother's guitar.
Yeah.
It had 300,000 hits on it. 300,000 people went on that video, that post, right? So I have this huge following of people that'll all kind of throw in at some point with me, right? So if you're an artist and you want to go online and start doing your thing, be aware of that we all are seeking our own level based upon our touring history, right? So if you're out there and you're doing local gigs or provincial or even maritime regional gigs, and you're doing 100 halls or 200 seat halls, that's where you're going to be at when you start out. Your numbers are going to be small, and it'll take you a little bit to get all your peeps in there with you. But the beauty of it is, you might get stalled at 300 or 400 subscribers, but the beauty is you can grow from there. Mm-hmm. And you've grown from just touring around regionally. You can't. You have to get out of you have to get out of where you live. Doesn't matter where you're from. Okay. You have to get out. You have to get outside the region where you are. Hopefully out of the country, most times. And so that's the beauty of it. So, but don't go in thinking that you can instantly just get 1,000 people signed up. It takes a lot of work, and you got to remember, you got to be able to cross-pollinate between your Facebook and YouTube. You figure out how many people you got following you, right? And there's going to be a percentage of that number that'll follow you over to YouTube and subscribe. And then you just start piling on the content and getting people to, and sharing it, right? And pretty soon the numbers are going to start to come up, but it takes a lot of initial work.
Mhm.
And if you're playing small venues, you got to realize you're going to have to start small. It'll start at small, and you can grow it 10 times bigger than you could have just playing your circuit, right? That's the beauty of it.
And you're right. When you get international, you're not just in the region that you're in. Because we're cursed in Canada, like especially in the Maritime provinces where we live. It's always been hard to tour across the country because Jesus, you got to go 10 hours before you hit the next major center anyhow from Halifax. So that combined with the entire population of Canada is only 30 million people.
Yeah.
10 times that amount break down south. If you can tap into the U.S. market and, gosh, like you said, you're talking about Australia and European market now, that's awesome. That's really good. Really nice to hear.
You got to realize that every single day, there's 55 million videos uploaded to YouTube every day. Can you imagine that? 5 million videos a day. So that's enough to humble anybody, right? So that makes you think, right? I really got to do my best on this stuff, And out of those, there's 1.2 billion YouTube users. And think about that for a while, right?
Yep.
Like the market is humongous, and it only takes one thing. It could take some silly thing like
A talking dog.
yeah. When I wrote Hometown Battlefield and put it up on Facebook, and then it showed up when we put it on YouTube. I mean, it got 4 million views, right? That was the only thing in my life that ever went viral. And but we didn't see that coming. And that's what started me out on this. That's why I'm able to do this now, because my subscribers exploded. I had I had 80 subscribers when that went on. Then all of a sudden, boom, it was 4,100 overnight. And then when we got onto the pandemic here, boom, it doubled again when I started making content.
Right. So
it's all just cause and effect, right? It's supply and demand. You got to do the work.
I feel like I've learned something here tonight.
I know. I feel the same way. It's like, geez, I didn't hear that.
Well, no, and I did hear you on Rick Howe a couple of weeks ago. You briefly touched on some of this, and but what I am getting, and I mean, I know an awful lot of people that kind of sit there and they're kind of, geez, I wish, and the message I'm getting here is, you can wish all you want, but you got to put the work in, and when you put the work in, it may or may not happen, but you got to keep chugging away at it.
Yeah. Like I have a close buddy of mine in Sweden, Patrick Lundgren. He great bluegrass guitar player, and he works with recording King guitars like I do. I endorse him as well. And he just passed 10,000. He beat me to the line. And he's still complaining about, like he says to me, "Oh, I wish I could just get that one viral hit." Like, no, Patrick, you gotta make more videos and longer videos, and every single day you gotta put something up because people really love you. You've already got 10,000 subscribers. You have to expand what you're doing. Don't try to get the one big thing. Get one consistent thing and do it all the time really well. And so like I got him. Like I had a long talk with him. I face messaged him there. I did a video call on Messenger the other day with him, and I got him talked into it. He's like, okay, he's going to buy some more gear. This is a guy with 10,000 subscribers, doesn't even have a decent studio mic. That's how easy it is if your content is good, right? And it is. Great guitar player. And he teaches guitar. Free, it's online, but his videos are very short and very succinct, and got 10,000 followers already. So I mean, I told him, I said, man, if you go buy a little bit of gear and start doing a little more involved things, man, your subscribers will triple You'll have 30,000 in 6 months. And he probably will. And he's like me, and this is an example of what I'm talking about. Him and I are double teaming, right? I'm sharing his stuff with my people, and he's sharing my stuff in Europe, which is we're cross-pollinating. So his subscribers are coming over to me and vice versa, and staying with each of us, right? They don't leave one guy and go to another. They just add me in, and my people add him in, and it grows both sources, right?
You raise a good point, JP, because really at that stage of the game, if you have that mentality where you want sole proprietorship of this idea, of this invention, of this new online presence, you're crazy in the head, because unless you share and do it together as a community, then it really won't grow.
That's right. That's the problem. A lot of artists right now are still stuck in the whole artists are entitled. They think that, you know, and I'm the same way. I was years, you know, being uber protective of my copyright and you know, all this bullshit, really, because I don't write hit songs. So the chances of anything I write making that kind of making millions of dollars is ridiculously low. It's not going to happen, right? So, like, that's the other beautiful thing about YouTube. YouTube is one of the most protective of artist copyright that you can find, and they do it all for you, and it's done by bots initially. But if there's any conflict, a person steps in and looks into the situation and does their deal. But you can't use anything on YouTube without the bot finding it and going, okay, that belongs to this publisher and that publisher, and your ads are not just coming to you. This guy is being paid as well, and blah, 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 blah. And everybody makes money. It's better than radio. Literally. Like, it's so well done. Like, I've never had a single problem with them. Yeah. You put something PD, you get all the ad revenue. But if I were to use like a Lightfoot song, they'd find it right away. They'd say, boom, this part of the video right here belongs to Moose Music. Your video is still being monetized, but you may not be getting all the money now, and blah, 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 because some of the money's going to Gordy, right?
Right.
That's awesome. That's how awesome can that, like, you don't even have to apply for a mechanical license.
Yeah.
They do it for us and distribute all the money. So yet another thing that just is the next stage in performance, because there's so much of the bullshit that we used to have to deal with is being done for us. We basically only have to now concentrate on content, and that's a lovely thing after all these years of having to worry about, you know, when you're dealing with publishers and labels and radio and television and blah, 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 blah. And it's all, and you need a lawyer, you need this and you need that. You don't need any of that anymore.
We had a conversation with Bruce Wheaton. Bruce Wheaton had written a song in 1972, and I found out 10 years later that Mama Cass Elliot had recorded it. He didn't even know for 10 years. It's crazy when you think about it. What can happen?
Yeah, it is. Not like that anymore. YouTube is, and they're all tied into all those companies work together. Google, CD Baby, Easy Licensing. Like these companies are just I've been dealing with them for months now, and they are so professional and so incredibly inexpensive compared to what it used to have to cost to try to get a license from some obscure writer. Like we had, when Dave and I did Viva La Vida by Coldplay, I had Coldplay's publisher on the phone 5 seconds for these guys.
Wow.
From London, England. They called, yes, record the boys' song. I said, yes, we just did this video and blah, blah. Well, we'll have the office over in Toronto call you right straight away, you know. And 10 minutes later, the guy from Toronto, Universal Music, was calling me, right? That's all from just easy song licensing and YouTube, and it's ridiculous how easy it is, right? And we did our thing and paid our $300, put the video on, YouTube, released it as a single. Boom. Simple. So easy. Like just miles above anything that, you know, I usually have to do to put a record out or put a single out or any of those things.
Right.
So,
Wow.
Well, but doing that heavy lifting and realizing how hard and difficult and challenging it was, now, I mean, it's got to be great because I mean, you've done that hard work, and now it's kind of, to your point, you can be creative and know that it's going to go on there and get paid for it.
that's the idea.
Yeah.
Everybody gets paid. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You do the work, you get paid. That's only fair. That's only fair.
Yeah.
JP, listen,
Well,
I don't want to take any more of your time, brother. I know you just had a big supper and you want to probably just chill out and whatever. Listen, I can't thank you enough for being on our show. I mean, we've been at this now for 4 months. We're at 4,000 members on the Facebook page, just shy of 400 on YouTube. But it's the same thing that we're facing every day. Like we're trying to come up with new ideas and new concepts and new things to do. And you give us a lot to think about tonight. You really have.
Well, you can do it same as I can. There's nothing stopping you.
Right on.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate your time.
All right, boys.
JP, you take care. Okay, all the best to you. Stay safe.
Yeah. Thanks,
Oh,
brother.
listen, one more thing. Really enjoyed the 22 song. The first time I just came across it the other day. Really,
Oh, yes.
truly enjoyed that song.
Thank you.
You know, it meant a lot. You know, it really did. So thank you for writing that.
Thanks, brother.
All right. You take care. Peace out.
Peace.
All right.
All right. All the
Yeah.
best.